What if I told you that the secret to moving faster isn't to hurry, but to slow down? It sounds like a paradox. In a world that celebrates speed, hustle, and constant motion, we're told that success belongs to those who move the fastest. But some of the greatest performers in history, from legendary coaches to elite military operators, have discovered a counterintuitive truth. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Today, we're going to explore how slowing down creates speed, how your breath literally rewires your nervous system, and how that regulation doesn't just change you, it transforms everyone around you. Let me tell you about one of the most successful coaches in sports history. John Wooden led UCLA's basketball team to an almost unbelievable dominance in the 1960s and 70s. 10 NCAA national championships in 12 years, an 88-game winning streak. His teams won with big centers and with small lineups, with superstars and with scrappy role players. Wooden became a model of excellence far beyond basketball. ESPN eventually named him Coach of the Century. And yet, if you ask his former players what they remember most, they don't talk first about the trophies or banners. They talk about his philosophy. Wooden's players said he rarely talked directly about winning. Instead, he obsessively repeated one phrase: be quick, but don't hurry. At first, this seems like nonsense. What's the difference between being quick and hurrying? Aren't they the same thing? But Wooden understood something profound about human performance. He believed that quickness came from preparation and emotional balance, while hurrying came from anxiety and being forced to react to what others wanted you to do. Quickness is deliberate, hurrying is desperate. One is grounded, the other is panicked. That distinction shaped everything he taught. One of Wooden's former players, Andrew Hill, later became a successful television executive. Years after graduating, Hill realized something stunning. Everything he knew about managing creative people and getting the best out of them came directly from Coach Wooden's teachings. Wooden's approach was methodical and precise. He focused on process, not just outcomes. Hill recognized that Wooden's lessons about tempo, composure, and fundamentals applied just as much in boardrooms and production meetings as they did on the basketball court. Wooden wasn't just developing athletes, he was shaping how they would lead, decide, and perform for the rest of their lives. Wooden would begin every season's first practice with instruction on how to properly put on socks. Not shooting drills, not plays, socks. He walked them through smoothing out every wrinkle, pulling the sock tight, making sure there were no folds that could turn into blisters. Why? Because he recognized that being sloppy in small things predicts failure in big things. As he said, little things make big things happen. To many players, it seemed ridiculous at first, but over time, they began to understand. This was about respecting the fundamentals that speed and greatness depend on. When Wooden's players moved on the court, they were trained to move to the very edge of quickness, hurtling along very fast, but never slip across into counterproductive, anxious hurrying. Think about that for a moment. He was training them to find a border, to go right up to the line where speed becomes chaos, and stop just before crossing it. This wasn't just about basketball. When surgeons face unexpected complications, if they aren't capable of responding quickly, they may lose a patient. But if they hurry, if they let anxiety take over, they make mistakes that cost lives. Wooden even posted a question on the team bulletin board. If you don't have time to do it right, when will you have time to do it over? That question wasn't about perfectionism, it was about tempo, about giving yourself enough space to execute cleanly, under pressure, without tipping into panic. The message was clear. Speed without control isn't speed, it's risk. And the people who can sustain excellence over time are the ones who learn to be fast and calm at the same time. Quick but not hurried, smooth, not frantic. The military discovered this same principle independently, and for them, the stakes couldn't be higher. Navy SEALs train with a mantra that echoes Wooden's wisdom: slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Some trace similar ideas back even further, to Doc Holliday, the famous gunfighter who advised, "Take your time in a hurry," or to the Roman Emperor Augustus Caesar, who hated rushing and said that what has been done well has been done quickly enough. Across centuries and domains, elite performers kept arriving at the same realization. The best way to be fast is to master smoothness. For SEALs, this isn't philosophical. It's survival. When you're disarming an explosive device or clearing a building of hostile threats, rushing causes deadly mistakes. Moving too fast means you miss critical details. Your weapon can sweep across teammates. You fire at the wrong target. You step where you shouldn't. The phrase, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, emphasizes efficient, controlled movement in high-stakes situations. It means performing actions with deliberate precision rather than frantic haste. The smoother the operation, the fewer errors. And fewer errors mean the mission actually gets done faster and more safely. Think about a master golfer. If they've never played before and try to swing as hard as possible to hit bombs off the tee, they'll have a terrible time. They'll be wild, inconsistent, frustrated, but if they start slowly and smoothly, ingraining a good swing pattern, they can accelerate it later to add distance. The same is true for a musician practicing scales or a pilot learning to land a plane. Technique and calm come first. Speed comes later. Starting slower doesn't hold you back. Starting slower gets you there faster. Now here's where this gets really interesting, because there's actual neuroscience that explains why slowing down works, and it all starts with your breath. Your nervous system has two main branches working in dynamic balance. The sympathetic nervous system is your accelerator. It activates fight or flight responses, increases heart rate, sharpens focus. The parasympathetic nervous system is your brake. It activates rest and digest functions, decreases heart rate, promotes recovery. Healthy performance isn't about one or the other. It's about the right balance between both at the right time. When you're stressed or anxious, you tend to breathe shallowly and quickly. This actually creates more anxiety in your body. You're essentially driving with one foot on the gas and one on the brake, creating a jerky ride that burns more energy and produces extra wear and tear on your whole system. Your heart rate spikes, your muscles tense, your thoughts race. Over time, that state becomes your default, even when there's no real threat. Your body forgets how to come back to baseline. But here's the incredible part. You can change this just by changing how you breathe. Let me introduce you to a technique called box breathing, also known as square breathing or tactical breathing. It's simple. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, breathe out for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts. That's it. 4 equal sides, like a box. You can do it sitting at your desk, in your car, or before a big conversation. You don't need equipment. You don't need an app. Just your breath, your attention, and a few moments of intentional practice. Here's what happens when you do this. When you inhale for 4 counts, you slightly activate your sympathetic nervous system, increasing alertness. The 4-count hold sends signals of safety to your brain. Nothing is chasing you. Everything is okay. Then the 4-count exhale stimulates your vagus nerve, the largest nerve in your body that connects your brain to your major organs, activating your parasympathetic nervous system. The second hold allows that calming signal to integrate. It's like you're rhythmically tapping the brakes on your internal stress response. Research shows this balanced breathing pattern increases heart rate variability, which is a key indicator of stress resilience. Studies have found that regular practice can reduce cortisol levels, your primary stress hormone, in just a few minutes. The slow, rhythmic pattern creates a cascade of calming effects throughout your neural networks. Your amygdala, the brain's anxiety control center, dials down its activity. Controlled breathing increases alpha waves in your brain, the same waves associated with meditation and deep relaxation. Your system shifts from threat and react toward observe and respond. A comprehensive analysis of breathing studies found that the majority of people report stress that affects their physical health. But just 90 seconds of structured breathing can significantly reduce anxiety levels. Think about that, 90 seconds. We'll spend more time than that scrolling a feed we don't even care about. Box breathing is just one technique. Others include diaphragmatic or belly breathing, 4-7-8 breathing, and physiological sighing. They all work on the same principle. Breathing acts directly on your autonomic nervous system as a bottom-up approach to stress reduction. You're not trying to think your way out of stress. You're using your physiology to shift your state. And here's something profound. The benefits persist across all populations because breathing directly affects the nervous system. It doesn't matter if you're an athlete, a CEO, a parent, or a student. This works because it's operating at the level of fundamental human biology. When you practice these techniques consistently, you're training your nervous system the way athletes train muscles, building capacity to stay centered under pressure. But here's where this story takes a turn that might surprise you. Because when you regulate your nervous system, something extraordinary happens. You don't just change yourself, you change the people around you. Researchers at the HeartMath Institute have spent decades studying something called coherence, a state where your heart, brain, emotions, and nervous system synchronize into harmonious order. When you're in a coherent state, your heart rhythm pattern becomes smooth and wave-like, and your body's systems function with increased efficiency. You feel steadier, clearer, and more grounded. In coherence, you experience greater emotional stability, increased mental clarity, and improved cognitive function. You're less likely to be thrown off by small disruptions. But here's what's remarkable: coherence is contagious. Studies have shown that when trained individuals achieve high levels of heart rate variability coherence, they can actually facilitate higher levels of coherence in untrained people nearby. Think about that. Your nervous system state affects the nervous system states of people around you, even if no one is consciously trying to make that happen. Your calm becomes a resource for others. In one study, 3 people trained in achieving coherence were placed with an untrained volunteer. In approximately half of all trials, the untrained person's coherence increased, just from being in proximity to the coherent group. Even more fascinating, the effect was strongest when all 4 participants focused together on achieving coherence. And it worked best when group members were comfortable with each other. The researchers call this social coherence, a stable and harmonious alignment of relationships that allows for efficient flow of energy and communication required for optimal collective action. Groups with high social coherence show increased physiological synchronization, enhanced capacity for coordinated action, more positive emotional connections, greater cooperation and trust, improved communication, and decreased social conflict. Think about a championship sports team where players seem to communicate on an unseen level, or a rowing crew where every oar slices through the water in perfect harmony, or an orchestra performing a complex piece with flawless coordination. This isn't just teamwork, it's nervous system synchronization. Their bodies are literally syncing up in service of a shared goal. Research on couples, families, and work teams has found that when engaged in conversation, people unconsciously synchronize their movements, postures, vocal pitch, and speaking rates. Important aspects of their physiology become synchronized too. Heart rates rise and fall together. Breathing rhythms line up. Higher levels of physiological synchronization have been associated with increased cooperation, stronger social bonds, and more pro-social behavior. Conversely, during heated arguments or conflict, that synchrony decreases. The system literally falls out of rhythm. We feel it as tension in the room. Scientists are now studying what they call co-regulation, the mutual adaptation between people in response to one another's biology and behavior. This operates at both biological and behavioral levels. In parent-child relationships, researchers have documented that sympathetic nervous system activity synchronizes between mothers and infants. Heart rate variability patterns align, stress hormones correlate, but this extends far beyond parent and child. It happens in any close relationship or group interaction. Teams, friends, partners, colleagues. We're constantly tuning to each other. Your regulated nervous system creates a kind of field effect. When you're calm, centered, and coherent, you make it easier for others to access those states. People feel safer, they think more clearly, they mirror your steadiness. When you're anxious, reactive, and dysregulated, you make it harder. Others tighten up, they brace, they move into their own protective patterns. Whether you intend to or not, you are always broadcasting a nervous system signal to the people around you. The question is, what are you broadcasting? So let's connect all these threads. John Wooden taught his players to be quick but not hurry, to find that edge of maximum speed without crossing into chaos. He knew that panic and rushing create mistakes, while calm preparation creates excellence. Navy SEALs trained to move slow and smooth, knowing that controlled precision produces faster, safer results than frantic haste. Across completely different worlds, they converged on the same principle. Composure under pressure is what creates reliable speed. The science of breathwork reveals why these approaches work. When you regulate your breath, you directly influence your nervous system. You shift from sympathetic dominance, that hurried, anxious, scattered state, to parasympathetic activation and coherence, that calm, focused, powerful state. And when you achieve that coherence, you don't just perform better individually, you create an energetic field that helps everyone around you access better states. Your team synchronizes, your family harmonizes, your organization flows a little more easily. This is the profound wisdom hidden in the phrase, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It's not about literally moving in slow motion. It's about moving from a centered, regulated state rather than a reactive one. It's about building mastery through patient practice rather than frantic repetition. It's about trusting your preparation instead of constantly trying to force outcomes. It's about maintaining emotional balance under pressure and creating space for intuition and flow to emerge when it matters most. Think about the surgeon who pauses to center themselves before making a critical incision, the athlete who breathes deeply before the crucial moment, the leader who maintains calm presence when everyone else is panicking, the parent who regulates their own nervous system to help their child calm down. Different roles, different contexts, same core skill, the ability to slow down internally, even when everything around you is speeding up. They understand something crucial about performance and leadership. You cannot think your way to high performance under pressure, but you can breathe your way there. And here's the beautiful part. This is trainable. These aren't gifts you're simply born with. They are skills you can develop. Start with your breath. Practice box breathing for 5 minutes a day. Notice when you're holding tension in your body. Build in micro moments to reset during your day. Before a meeting, after a difficult email, between tasks, you're teaching your system a new pattern. As you get better at self-regulation, you'll notice something shift. Tasks that used to feel frantic become smoother. Interactions that used to create stress become more easeful. That tiny space between stimulus and response begins to widen. You catch yourself before snapping at someone. You choose your words more carefully. You feel less like you're being dragged through your day and more like you're piloting it. You become someone others rely on for steadiness, for perspective, for calm in the storm. In a very real sense, you become quick without hurrying. You move fast without feeling frantic. You're still ambitious. You still care deeply about outcomes, but you're no longer trying to outrun your own biology. You've learned to work with it instead of against it. That's the shift that turns slow is smooth, smooth is fast from a clever saying into a lived reality. It becomes part of how you walk into rooms, make decisions, and move through your life. In a world that's constantly accelerating, that glorifies busyness and celebrates speed, slowing down feels countercultural. It can even feel irresponsible, like you're falling behind. But the greatest performers across every domain have discovered this secret. The fastest way forward is to first find your center. The more chaotic things become around you, the more valuable your ability to stay regulated becomes, for you and for everyone connected to you. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you feel that urge to hurry, to rush through something because you're anxious or behind or overwhelmed, pause. Take 4 breaths. 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, 4 counts out, 4 counts hold. Just 4 breaths. Notice what happens to your state. Notice what happens to your thinking. Notice what happens to your performance when you come back into your body before you move. Because when you slow down to go fast, you're not just changing your own nervous system. You're changing the nervous system of everyone you interact with. You're creating coherence instead of chaos. You're building mastery instead of reinforcing reactivity. You're finding that edge where excellence lives, quick but not hurried, calm but not passive, focused but not clenched. That's the place Wooden coached from. It's the place elite operators train for, and it's available to you. If this resonates with you and you want to go deeper and breaking free of your conditioned patterns, beliefs, and behaviors, join the Change Mindset community. It's for the professionals brave enough to question the old playbook. The Change Mindset community isn't for everyone. It is for those who feel the shift and know they need to adapt before disruption decides for them. Inside the community, we don't just talk about change, we train for it. Neuroscience-backed tools and real-world leadership coaching. This is for people serious about leading in the new world of work, not just inspiration. Subscribe to this channel for powerful insights on navigating uncertainty, leading yourself with clarity, and building a mindset built for change. Then visit www.changemindset.co and take our free Change Mindset quiz, 15 self-reflective questions to see if you are ready. Remember, change waits for no one.